Sometimes we downplay how many characters there are in Sparking Zero, since most of the roster are the same character but at different points throughout the franchise, right? This raises the question, why even have 8 different Gokus if everyone would prefer to play with the one that can auto-dodge and actually be a really good drinking game? Shot every time an MUI Goku appears. The devil is in the details, and today I wanted to review each base form Goku to see if there really is any difference between each one and just how big these are. I will only cover auto-based Goku, including Black since he's basically Goku, but evil. I won't include Bardock or Turles since they're generally different characters. And with that being said, let's hop on to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber and get started. Alrighty, so we're gonna be starting with Goku from early Z. His melee kit is gonna be pretty much the same throughout all of his iterations. One key difference, however, is that his melee damage does max out at 2585. This is with the 5 square button input, so just the basic rush. Out of all the Gokus that we're gonna be seeing here, this one is actually not the worst, despite the fact that he's the only one that can transform. Solar Flare is a good tool to throw off your opponent and land supers easier. His Kaioken skill is also really good. It buffs attack, defense, and key attacks for about 25 seconds. The fact that he can also use the Gut Punch, Ki Blast, and both Ground Slash combos increases the value that you can get from his Kaioken. In terms of his blast attacks, they can dish out good enough damage with or without the boost. Same as his Spirit Bomb. Nothing groundbreaking, but still worthwhile. Naturally, his one biggest setback is that he doesn't have access to any transformations, so this is all you get when picking him. Not exactly a bad thing per se, to be honest. At the end of the day, it does matter more how well you play with the character. Alright, with that being said, I think we can go ahead and move on to our next Goku. Alright guys, now moving on to Goku Mid, which I honestly have to say is not mid at all. Yeah, I had to put that joke in somewhere, but anyway. I've already mentioned that all Gokus, including Goku Black, have the same melee kit. Gut Punch in 1, Ki Blast in the 2nd, and Flying Kicks in the 3rd. He repeats the Gut Punch in the 4th, and it's gonna be the same step in for all of them. Again. Now, in terms of melee damage, this is where base Goku peaks. All other forms also yield 2713 damage with their basic rush. However, this Goku truly shines through his skills. His first skill can stack up to 3 times, increasing his ultimate damage, making it the strongest Spirit Bomb and ultimate out of all Gokus, almost doubling its base damage from 13,701 to 25,988. I'm gonna show you real quick, because that's more damage than even Goku Super can deal with his ultimate. Now, his second skill is also really good. It's called I Can't Wait and grants a buff in attack, defense, blast, ki, and speed for the next 25 seconds. Now, your average singles match lasts around 1 minute to 1 minute and 30 seconds. To give you an idea of how good this buff is, you're gonna be walking around with this increased damage output for easily almost half of the match, possibly. Having the same combo routes as early Goku, this iteration of the character can easily be top tier, not to mention he can also transform into Super Saiyan. Really a great version of Goku, and honestly one that's very meta, don't sleep on it. And if you ever stumble into somebody online playing with him, be careful. If they know what they're doing, they might mess you up. Alright guys, now let's go ahead and move on with Goku End of Z. Now, I'll be straight with you guys. This is easily the worst Goku of them all. Or not worst, but definitely doesn't have as much going for him as the other 2 versions. This one doesn't have any boost skills, like the Kaioken or I Can't Wait. Instead, he has Instant Transmission and Wild Sense, which are both very easy to counter, primarily by just vanishing. If your opponent does Instant Transmission, just spamming short bursts of dashes should put you out of harm's way fairly often, fairly most of the times. These type of skills thrive more when you manage to catch your opponent by surprise. If they're not expecting you to go for the wild sense or that you're gonna activate the instant transmission, that's when those techniques are most valuable. But again, if you spam them too much, you are pretty much telegraphing your opponent to keep an eye out for them. So be careful about that. His blast attacks do yield more damage if you boost them, and his ultimate also does a decent amount of damage, as you would expect. His true value obviously comes more from the fact that he has access to his other 3 transformations, Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3, right? He does have a different extension to his Gut Punch, so I'm going to show you here. You want to press analog stick up and triangle at the same time after you land your Gut Punch, and then press square 2 more times. Sorry, Vegeta. Oh my god. I did it well the last moment. There you go, and that's what you get. Alright, that being said, we're gonna move on to Goku Super. Okay guys, now, moving on to Goku from Super. Right off the bat, the first thing that I want to say is he has one more combo route than the other versions that we've covered so far, and his ultimate is the strongest out of the 5 Gokus, excluding buffs like Goku Mid's Give Me Energy, as I mentioned before. However, this is where his selling points do end. He has instant transmission as his first skill and an instant sparking as his second one. And after the latest patch, as you can see, it's not as OP as before, since now a character will get a slightly higher defense debuff, meaning you will be taking more damage in exchange of being able to activate your ultimate faster. So it becomes less of a nuke and more of a double-edged sword, especially because you will conserve the buff even after you activate the ultimate. Oh, there I landed it. I didn't expect that to happen, but moving on. This is a good option if you plan to end the fight with the ultimate. Otherwise, I would not really recommend you to rely on it that much. Obviously, the last thing that I wanted to say about this version is that he has access to Super Saiyan 1, God, and Blue, and all 3 forms have really good skills. So his true value comes from being able to access 3 really good iterations of the character, but I won't be covering that in this video. For now, we're just focusing on base Goku. Alright, now that being said, we're gonna be moving on to our last character, which is gonna be Goku Black. Alright, now this is gonna be the last version of Goku we're gonna be covering here. And as you would have it with Goku early and mid, this one also excels more when you're using his second skill, which is Finish Sign. This is gonna grant you a boost in Ki Blast, blast attack damage, and also melee damage for also 25 seconds. And being Goku, this character has a very good combo game, just as I mentioned before. He does have a different combo to his Ki Blast cannon. He won't have the other triangulation one that's all fancy and stuff. But I'd say that's not too bad. That's just one thing that you want to keep in mind. His ultimate is not exactly outstanding either, but still has good damage, peaking at 16,545. The only drawback I would say this Goku has is that unlike the others, he needs a minimum of 2 skill points to transform, but you get in exchange something that I'd say is very much worth it, because we've all seen how nasty you can get with Super Saiyan Rose. But yeah, that being said guys, that's gonna be it on the characters. We've gone over each Goku, so let's go ahead and see what the final verdict is. So what are my thoughts after having gone over all of these Gokus? For starters, it can be a very different experience depending on which one you're playing with. If it's only base forms, I'd say early and mid Goku would be the better characters, mainly because of all the utility that you can get out of their skills. The later versions have more straight to the point skills, you could say. Instant transmission just moves you from one place to another. Wild sense automatically counters one of your opponent's attacks. You know, if you're up to transformations, however, I'd say the top spot would probably go between Goku Super and Goku End of Z. I already did a video over Goku UI sign and MUI, so feel free to go check it out if you're curious to what that version of Goku is like. At the end of the day, it's not really about the character, but it's also about the player, or at least I like to think. The game offers you a sandbox-like approach to how it can be played, and I really like to go ahead and explore and comment on this, and seeing some of you guys also add up to what I have to say and share your inputs. It's also a really fun experience. So, hey, go check out my other videos if you'd like to see more Sparking Zero content. For everything else, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Have a good one and take care.